Perfect. So the title of our project is the data visualization of the distribution of invasive flora species and their proximity to native woodlands. So about us. So myself and my colleague Dean, who unfortunately cannot be here today, both have a keen interest in biodiversity, and we both joined the DXC Data Analytics and Consulting Graduate Programme in September of 2021. So first of all, I'll give you some background into our project. The spread of invasive flora species is a massive threat to our native woodlands. We became interested in trying to get a clear picture of the distribution of invasives and their distance to native woodlands. Native woodlands contain native tree species, and they are also biodiverse havens. They support many species such as fungi, birds, invertebrates, etc. These woodlands also have significant cultural value. Climate change is intertwined with the loss of biodiversity. Biodiversity and ecosystems supply essential services such as oxygen, pollination of plants, pest control, and many more. So the problem. The problem that we chose to investigate was that native woodlands are under threat from many factors. As previously mentioned, we focused on the threat of invasive species. This impact could lead to the loss of natural woodlands in Ireland, and as a result could greatly impact climate change. In our research, we discovered that there was a distinct lack of data surrounding the distribution of invasive species in relation to native woodlands. This inspired us to undertake this as part of the competition. So our dashboard integrates open data directly into the map. We've integrated a colour scheme to highlight the difference between different species and also to highlight the aerial distribution of the native woodlands. The dashboard's primary goal is to serve as an educational tool. The purpose is educational as well as providing the ability to monitor, benchmark and track the impact of invasive species. So I'll now just give you a quick demo of our dashboard. So unfortunately, we couldn't get our dashboard live in time due to some technical difficulties, but hopefully it will be made public facing very shortly. So this is our title page, and as you can see on the left-hand side, we have the species that are within 2 kilometres of a native woodland. We have a list displaying all the species and their distance, and the same on the right, and that is species within 5 kilometres. And as you can see in both, rhododendron is by far the species that is closest and causing the most threat. And then we also have a quick description of our dashboard. So moving on then, we have an interactive map, and this is illustrating the distribution of invasive species. So the map is highly interactive in which you can search for features and it'll bring you right the way in. Here we have zoomed into Tralee and you can see the native woodlands, as well as sycamore maple, red osier dogwood, common snowberry and cherry laurel. You can search to anywhere in particular. So even if we take Dublin here as well, for example, again, it will bring you right the way in and you can see all of the invasive species that are present up in swords. So you can also zoom in and out manually if you didn't want to search or type. And then moving on, we have a second interactive map. And again, it's exactly the same as the first one in the sense that you can search and type in. So here we have a heat map displaying the distribution of woodlands, starting with the dark blue colour. This is the least dense amount of wood and going all the way up to the red, which has the most amount of wood. Now moving on, here we have some graphs. So we have the count of invasive species by county. So this is the top 10. And then we have the count of woodland type in Ireland. And then down at the bottom, we have woodland area by hectare done by county. And we also have drop-down menus. So if the county you're looking for isn't listed in the top 10, you can just use the drop-down features and it will show you the county you're looking for. And it's the same for the graph on the bottom with the woodland area by hectare. So then we've included a Q&A feature. So for example, if we take this suggested one here, how many cherry laurels are in Cork, it'll bring you up the exact count. And you can ask it a wide multitude of questions. And then moving on to the last page, here we just have some fun facts. There's about 3 to 4 fun facts per species that we chose to investigate. As just shown, we were able to produce a dashboard that highlights the proximity of invasive flora species. So post-challenge. If we're able to continue with the dashboard, we will try to gain access to further restricted data, which may include more interesting metrics. We could also potentially get updated data from groundwork checks that are currently happening.